We don't play home games with our military, and that's very good. But technology is changing in a way that makes the cost of our strategy that says we're going to go overseas and fight more dangerous and more expensive. It's harder and harder for us to conceal ourselves as we travel to play the away game with our military. And so it makes us more vulnerable. And our strategy should adapt to that. Let's look at different ways we can achieve our goals in the world. At the end of the Cold War, we shifted from a world where there were two powerful countries leading alliances against each other to where there was one very powerful country, only the United States. That made a big difference, I thought, in our strategic approach. Grand strategy of restraint would shift the balance of US intervention away from wealthy and secure parts of the world who could defend themselves. At times when we wanted to intervene, we might pay much more attention to humanitarian concerns or altruistic concerns in the developing world, not so much to change their governments and force them to be like the United States, because there are real limits to our ability to do that. Being perceived as too aggressive can scare other countries and make them take steps against you that they otherwise wouldn't have taken. Not to be weak or pacifist, but to have a powerful but not very busy military. I think so much of the underpinning of why we should have one strategy versus another depends on military technology and how it's enabling you to have certain capabilities and enabling your potential adversaries to have certain capabilities against you. It's always been an important part of my research and my engagement with public policy to think about types of funding and contract investments that you might make between the government and the industry, or how you balance the relationship, because any buyer-seller relationship, there's tension between the buyer and the seller. But on the other hand, this is a fundamental partnership in the United States, right? The government can't make high-tech weapons for itself. The fact that it's inherently a tense relationship, but inherently a cooperative relationship, is an area that stimulates all kinds of research. We got to go out to the factories, and you got to talk to the companies and understand their concerns, like where does the high-quality steel come from, or how much do we understand about the supply chain from the very basic raw materials, sand on the beach that somehow turns into a speck of glass in a display on a combat information system in a Navy ship. And thinking about all the transformations that have to happen and all the organizations that have to participate. If I didn't have that interaction, I would just be lost. I couldn't do what I do. It's really important to talk to lots of people with lots of perspectives. One of the great things about Notre Dame students is that they're curious about big questions and understanding the moral implications of decisions that are being made and what would constitute a well-lived life, but blending that with engagement with the real world. Notre Dame has a wonderful blend in its organizational DNA between pursuing big ideas with a mission to actually make a difference and change how people think and make the world better. Consistent with that organizational DNA, it's made an effort in focusing on certain areas, including international security. Colleagues who focus on not the same thing I do, but on related work, so we can bounce ideas off each other, try things out, have a real dynamic conversation intellectually, and offers an opportunity to make connections within and across disciplines.